Meet Audie, a little koala with a big fluffy head full of worries. Right now, his biggest worrying was a math problem. The numbers on the page swam like tadpoles in a pond, and his teacher, Ms. Owl, was looking his way. Adie's ears drooped. He felt like the smallest, most useless koala in the entire gum tree forest. He scribbled another wrong answer, his pencil snapping in frustration. A little tear trickled down his furry cheek. He just couldn't do it. That evening, Audie sat on his favorite branch, watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of orange and pink. He remembered something his grandma had told him once. She said prayer was like a secret conversation with God, a kind of superpower. Audie had always thought it sounded a bit boring, like eating bland leaves. But tonight, feeling so defeated, he decided to give it a try. He closed his eyes, his little paws clasped together. "I'm God," he whispered into the wind. "It's me, Audie. I'm not very good at math, or maybe anything. I feel a bit broken." He paused, feeling silly. What was he even doing? The next day in class, Ms. Owl handed back their math tests. Audie braced himself for the big red F he was sure he'd see. But instead, he saw a B-. A B-. It wasn't an A+, but it was far from the failure he had expected. A tiny spark of hope ignited in his chest. Later, during playtime, a big kangaroo named Kobe was teasing a smaller wallaby. Normally, Audie would have just hidden behind a tree, but today, something felt different. He took a deep breath, walked over, and said, "Hey, Kobe, that's not very nice. Why don't we all play together?" To his surprise, Kobe stopped and, after a moment, mumbled an apology. Audie started talking to God every day, not with fancy words, but just like he was talking to a friend. He'd say, "God, I'm feeling a little nervous about the soccer game today," or "Thank you for the sweet eucalyptus leaves." He discovered a cool trick, a discernment hack. Whenever he felt stressed or confused, he'd ask himself, "Am I trying to handle this all by myself, or am I letting God help?" It was like switching from his own tiny koala brain power to a super-powered God-sized one. The more he did this, the more real God became. It wasn't about getting perfect scores or never feeling scared. It was about knowing he wasn't alone. He still had tough days. There were still tricky math problems and arguments with friends. But now, instead of feeling like a broken little koala, he felt like a koala with a superpower. He knew he didn't have to be perfect because he had a perfect friend who was always listening. His ears no longer drooped with worrying. They perked up, ready to listen for the next quiet whisper from his amazing, invisible superpower. And that's the thing Audie learned. Prayer isn't a magic wand to make problems disappear. It's a connection that gives you the strength to face them, knowing you're loved, no matter what. It's a superpower that's available to everyone, anytime, anywhere. You just have to be willing to start the conversation.